2018 after a great 2017 with the wind upon our back and the moon upon our face. May the winds of destiny carry us to dance among the stars. Cheers.
May the wind always be at your back and the sun upon your face.
And may the winds of destiny carry you aloft to dance with the stars. Cheers, Georgie.
Cheers, Pop.
You got a hat? Okay.
Let's go.
You are not your honey. It's all right.
I'm sweating.
Because it's bad cold out there. Pull it now. Oh, like.
And go. I haven't been hit yet. Oh, that's a hit. I'm out of munitions. I'm out. No. I think you're out too, Eddie. Trying to go play a session. Unfortunately, it is super, super cold. Like 10 degrees out. It's so cold out that my hair is already frozen and I just got out of the shower. I was literally outside for 5 seconds. Car had a little trouble starting, so I'm having Matt and myself grab as much emergency clothing as we can find, as I've been stuck out on the road before when it was 4 degrees out. Needless to say, it got very cold. So hopefully that doesn't happen tonight and we can get down to the Kansas Star safely. Most of y'all have an opportunity to be driving to the big city when you're going to the casino. All the city lights and everything. We don't have that opportunity. We have God's green earth. Well, my good month had to come to an end at some point in time. Started off down at the Star super poorly. Was playing bad. It really felt like I was just in a funk. Some sort of mental haze I was having. We ended up losing 900. Went over to another game uptown a little ways. It's a really fun game too. Ended up making 300 down there before the game broke. Lost 600 on the night. What can you do? Had an excellent month. We knew we'd run into it at some point in time. I really can't say I was getting it in good. 2 pair versus sets, 2 pair versus better 2 pairs, 2 overs and a flush draw versus a better flush draw. I even got it in one time with deuce 3 of spades on an ace of spades, 4 of spades, king of diamonds board against king 10 of spades. We somehow got there on the river. It just goes to show like kind of how my night was going. I just kept being put in spots like that where it's almost never right to fold because we have too many outs, but we're just up against it every time. We'll get back to it next week and hopefully we'll run it up in the month of January. It's my birthday month, so it's gotta be good. I really didn't get any hands recorded over the last week as all my sessions were quite boring. or I was losing, and when I'm losing, I just kind of put my phone away and really try to focus on playing my best without getting tilted. So because I wanted to get one more vlog out for 2017, and I know the poker community hears plenty of bad beat stories, I wanted to share with you guys 3 hands that were some of the biggest pots I played this year. One of them was the biggest suck out that I personally had. The second hand will be the biggest suck out that ever happened to me, and then the third hand will be the biggest pot that I played year round. In this first hand, we are 5-handed, playing 1-3 at the star. We are $600 deep with the small blind, and the big blind is $400 deep. And under the gun straddle to $6. The next guy folds, and now it's on me on the button. I look down at 2 black 8s, and I go ahead and decide to raise $25. The small blind calls, as well as the big blind. The flop is about as good as it could get. Comes 5 of clubs, 6 of clubs, 7 of clubs. So we flop an overpair. We flop an open-ended straight flush draw. The small blind checks, the big blind checks. I go ahead and decide I want to play a little bit bigger pot, so I put in a $50 bet. The small blind quickly calls. The big blind re-raises to $200 out of his $400 stack. This is a super awkward spot because it's really him saying he's willing to commit his full stack on his particular hand. I think our hand is too strong to fold, so it goes to me. I decide to rip it in with the goal of getting the small blind to fold any type of draw that he has, and I'll just take my draw up against the big blind's already made hand. So I rip it in for the full 600, and lo and behold, the small blind calls. We see that we are up against the small blind with ace of clubs, 10 of diamonds, so he has the nut flush draw, versus the big blind's deuce of clubs, 4 clubs, so he already has the flush with a blocker to our straight flush. The board runs out a 9 of hearts on the turn, so we're feeling pretty good about the side pot, and a nice, as Nick would say, a glorious, glorious 9 of clubs on the river to scoop the whole thing, and we ship a $1,600 pot our way. Okay, so this next hand, I am playing against one of my buddies who used to frequent the Star. Anymore, he has just had a child and hasn't quite found the time to be able to go down and play cards as much as he had been. Little history between me and him is the fact that he never believes me when I bet, and will pretty much call me down with anything or re-raise any of his hands for value because he thinks I just pay everything off. We are 9-handed, everybody folds except him, and he's in the cutoff and he limps in. I am on the button with pocket deuces, 2 red deuces. I go ahead and decide to put in an $18 raise. The big blind calls as well as the cutoff. The flop comes deuce, 10, queen, rainbow. Perfect board for our hand. The big blind player checks. The cutoff checks. I go ahead and decide on a C bet of $40. The big blind player folds. Cutoff puts in a raise to $140. I don't ever see this person limping in on the cutoff with pocket queens or pocket 10s, so I'm almost certain our deuces are the best hand. If he's willing to put in that much money on that board, I'm sure he's willing to put in more. So I go ahead and decide to put in a re-raise to $400, and just like that, he snap ships it. He shows ace queen. The board runs out queen on the turn, another 10 on the river. So he gets his $1,300 pot shipped his way, drawing it somewhere around 3%. Okay, so for the final pot that I played in 2017 that was quite interesting was actually on our Wednesday night 5-5 PLO game. I had bought in for $500, which is super small compared to how big this game plays. Honestly, I feel like the ideal buy-in size would be somewhere around $2,000, as there's a lot of dark betting and nobody ever folds. The way this game is played is there's one round of high only, and then there is a round of 8 or better. I had started with $500 and had worked this $500 up to $2,500. We are on the high-low round. There is always a mandatory $10 button straddle. The small blind calls the $10 button straddle. The big blind goes to $50. And literally every single person in between the big blind and the cutoff, which is me, calls the $50. We're playing high-low. I have an ace-high flush draw with the nut low. So we make the call as well as the button and the small blind complete. So it's literally a family pot for $50 to a flop of 10 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, 3 of hearts. We flop the nut flush draw plus the nut low draw. These small blind pots immediately, we are covered by them, and we are also covered by the big blind who repots. And now it's on us to decide if we want to put in our full $2,500 and hope that we get there on one of the two draws. I assumed at this point in time that we'd likely be up against another ace deuce. We have the nut flush draw to go with it. I just decided let's do it. I put in the full $2,500 and the small blind also goes all in. I'm not sure how deep the small blind and big blind were. I knew that both of them covered me. At this point in time, I was just crossing my fingers, hoping to see a small diamond. And just like that, a 4 of diamonds, a glorious, as Nick would say, a glorious 4 of diamonds comes on the turn. And the only thing I'm thinking about is Vegas and the Mirage.
There's my money card, 9 of hearts. All I'm really thinking about is Vegas and the fucking Mirage.
And then a terrible card falls on the river, and that's another 3. So it pairs the board. We do have the nut low. We're probably at risk of getting quartered. But fortunately, the big blind folds once he sees the small blind's flopped set, rivered full house. Thankfully, the small blind did not have any form of low, so I turn over my ace deuce hand, and we get half the pot shipped our way. Those are the 3 biggest pots that I played in 2017. Hope you guys enjoy. We got some big stuff in store for 2018. I'll hope to get a vlog up every single week. Keep watching, guys. Thanks for all the support.